Well, hello everybody. Welcome in. Welcome to the Turkey Legster's Storyland. I am Dean the Turkey Legster. Welcome to the stream. This is my weekly stream on Thursday night where I go live and we're going to listen to some stories. I've got a couple good ones tonight. And yeah, so I hope you are having a great day. I'm looking forward to reading these stories here in just a minute. I'm going to wait a minute or two, let some friends find the stream, maybe pop in live. This is live Thursdays, Thursday evenings. So if you're watching this on the replay, um, I invite you to come back and join me live. You can chat in the live chat, and we can chat back and forth a little bit. I do want to just do a little programming note really quickly. Actually, let me say hello. I have a couple friends in the chat. Timothy Rainwaters, hello. Enjoying MK. Awesome. Awesome. I think the Starlight Parade is about to start um, either right now or in a little bit at 8:30. I'm not sure what time that's starting right now. But hopefully you are enjoying Magic Kingdom tonight. I'll be at Magic Kingdom in a few weeks because I still have to see the Starlight Parade. Tina McNeil, hello, welcome in. Hope you're doing well, and hello to Chuck. Hello, Chuck. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone for watching. Um, yeah. So just a little programming note. This Thursday nights here, Storyland is really for reading stories. So going forward, I'm going to not be quite as chatty during the stream. So I will wait 2 or 3 minutes ish, and kind of give some people time to come in. And Gloria Thibodeau, welcome in. So while I'm opening the stream, here just kind of chatting and letting the stream go out into the algorithm, and or letting the algorithm bring people in or whatever. Um, I'll interact with whoever's here right at the beginning. And then I'm going to read the first story, and I will not be greeting or chatting during while I'm reading the stories. And then afterwards, I will greet people in the chat um, that have come in. I will have the chat on, so I will see new people coming in, but I will not be responding to chat. And then once I do the second story, same thing goes. While I'm reading, basically, while I'm reading, I will not be responding to chat. So I'm also going to try to limit very much the beginning of the stream. Today it's going to be more like 5 or 6 minutes by the time I get started. But going forward, starting next week, I'm going to try to limit it to just 2 or 3 minutes. And then at the end, I will greet people that have come in um, during the second story. So my main chat night is really Tuesday night. So Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock, I do Let's Talk Turkey. That's all chat. And that's a fun time. That's when we can really, you can ask me questions. We can chat about stuff. We can have the real interaction. So even though I'm live for this Storyland, show, um, I'm going to try to limit the interactions if I can. So anyway, Jason Thibodeau, welcome in. And Jennifer Caruso, welcome in. Hope you are doing well, Jennifer. I was in and out of your stream today, Jennifer. Hope you had a great lunch there in Mexico um, at the restaurant there. Um, so, with that, guys, let's get going on the stories. Oh, you're home already? Well, good for you. I have to do laundry tomorrow. Good for you, Jennifer. I mean, I know you love being at Disney, but wow. um, so this what I'm reading tonight is this is an IP. I think I have read one of the stories before, but this is a new. I actually have the classic story or the story that we know from the movie. So this is for the very first time reading this on the channel. I am reading Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. All right, so sit back, enjoy, and we are reading Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame. One stormy night, in the shadow of Notre Dame, some gypsies tried to sneak into Paris by boat. But a trap had been laid, and the evil Judge Frollo was waiting to arrest the gypsies. One of the women, clutching a bundle, ran to the cathedral for help. In her haste, she tripped on the steps and fell to the ground. Frollo, thinking the bundle held stolen goods, was surprised to hear a cry. A baby? Then he saw its face. A monster. Frollo was about to drop the bundle down a well when I stepped from the cathedral and commanded him to stop. He drew the child back, his hand quivering. What must I do? Care for the child and raise it as your own. Frollo was not pleased, but he agreed on the condition that we keep the child in the cathedral. Frollo gave the child a cruel name, a name that means half-formed, Quasimodo. The years passed. Quasimodo, now a young man, had become the bell ringer of Notre Dame. He spent his time alone in the bell tower, building a tiny model of the city where he longed to be. But I'd never fit in out there. I'm not normal. Though Frollo was the only visitor to the bell tower, Quasimodo was often heard talking to the stone gargoyles, whom he called Hugo, Victor, and Laverne. And out there, living in the sun. Quasimodo loved watching festivals in the town square below. His favorite was the Feast of Fools, a celebration in which the men wore masks. But this year, he took one look and went back into the tower. Seeing this, Laverne shook her head sadly. What good is watching a party if you never get to go? Here, get away from me. Go on, you bunch of buzzards. He is not made of stone like us. Inside, Quasimodo found Judge Frollo in the doorway. As always, Frollo made him promise never to leave the tower. And so Quasimodo had to be satisfied playing with the people of his toy city. But in the square, another young man shouldered his way through a crowd of real people. His name was Phoebus, and he had just arrived in Paris. "Excuse me, gentlemen, I'm looking for the Palace of Justice. Would you?" Suddenly he stopped, and his eyes met the gaze of a young gypsy. She was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Before Phoebus could say anything, two soldiers came up to the young woman and accused her of stealing. She ran, and Phoebus moved his horse to block the soldiers' way. "Oh dear, I'm sorry. Naughty horse, naughty." One of the soldiers drew a dagger. "I'll teach you a lesson, peasant." Phoebus pulled back his cloak to reveal a captain's uniform. The soldier bowed. "At your service, sir." The soldiers led Phoebus to the Palace of Justice, where Frollo welcomed him as the new captain of the guard. "You've come to Paris in her darkest hour, Captain. The gypsies live outside the normal order. I believe they have a safe haven within the walls of this very city. A nest, if you will. They call it the Court of Miracles." Frollo ordered Phoebus to find the gypsies' nest and crush them like ants, little insignificant. Anyway, Quasimodo, in the meantime, had grown tired of his toy city and longed for the real thing. Swinging down from the tower, he crashed into one of the festival tents. When he looked up, he was staring into the lovely face of the young gypsy woman, whose name was Esmeralda. Quasimodo struggled to his feet. "I didn't mean to. I'm sorry." But in that moment, everything had changed. Quasimodo was in love. Da 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 da. A short time later, everyone gathered for the festival's big event, a contest to choose the ugliest man in the city, who would be crowned the King of Fools. As the crowd watched, Esmeralda went down a row of contestants, taking off each mask. When she got to Quasimodo, the people gasped. Then the gypsy leader recognized him. "We asked for the ugliest face in Paris, and here he is, Quasimodo, the hunchback of Notre Dame." A few people in the crowd lifted him onto their shoulders, and Frollo's men started laughing and throwing food at him. "You think he's ugly now? Watch this." Frollo looked on, but refused to help. He was furious that Quasimodo had disobeyed him. Finally, Esmeralda stepped in. Seeing what Frollo had done, she called to him angrily. "You mistreat this poor boy the same way you mistreat my people. The only fool I see is you. Oh. Frollo ordered Phoebus to arrest her, and she took off running through the crowd with her goat Jolly. She ran to the cathedral, but Phoebus followed. When Frollo caught up, he grinned in triumph. That's when I stepped in as the Archdeacon of Notre Dame. Frollo, you will not touch her. Frollo glared at Esmeralda. You've chosen a magnificent prison, but it is a prison none the less. Set one foot outside, and you're mine. He stormed off with Phoebus close behind. Esmeralda looked up and saw Quasimodo watching from the stairway. Wait, I'd like to talk to you. She followed him to the tower, where shyly he showed her his toy village and introduced her to the bells. Then he helped her escape Frollo's soldiers. Oh, then he helped her escape Frollo's soldiers by carrying her down the side of the tower. In exchange, she gave him the special necklace she always wore, saying it would lead him to safety if he ever needed it. When Judge Frollo heard that she had escaped, he was enraged. I'll find her if I have to burn down all of Paris. He summoned Phoebus, and together they searched the city. I'm going to show this picture now before we finish the page. Frollo suspected a miller and his family of hiding Esmeralda, and he ordered Phoebus to burn down their house. When Phoebus refused, the judge got even angrier. Insolent coward! The sentence for insubordination is death. The soldiers prepared to execute Phoebus, but Esmeralda, watching in secret, threw a rock at Frollo's horse. It reared, dumping Frollo to the ground. Phoebus broke free, hopped onto the horse, and rode off in a hail of arrows. As he crossed the river, one of the arrows struck him, and he fell into the water. Esmeralda slipped into the river and pulled him to safety. Phoebus was unconscious, but still breathing. She had to get help, but where? That's when she thought of her friend, Quasimodo. Back at the cathedral, Quasimodo looked down to the streets of Paris far below. Any sign of her? Oh, any sign of her? Victor couldn't believe it. Oh, it's a lost cause. She could be anywhere. Suddenly, Esmeralda appeared in the doorway, supporting the injured Phoebus. I knew he'd be safe here. Please, can you hide him? Quasimodo agreed. As he watched them exchange tender looks, he knew that his love for Esmeralda was doomed. Just then, Quasimodo heard hoofbeats in the square below. Frollo's coming. You must leave. Quick, follow me. He took Esmeralda out the back way, then hid Phoebus and turned to face his master. Frollo was livid. I know you helped her escape. Well, never mind, Quasimodo. I know where her hideout is, and tomorrow at dawn I attack with 1,000 men. The minute Frollo left, Phoebus came out from his hiding place. We have to find the Court of Miracles before daybreak. If Frollo gets there first, are you coming with me? Quasimodo stared at the floor. I can't. You do what you think is right. Phoebus staggered off. The gargoyles glared at Quasimodo until finally he ran to catch up. Phoebus, I'm coming with you. I'm doing it for her. Quasimodo, remembering the special necklace Esmeralda had given him, used it as a map. It led them to a cemetery where they went down a dark stairway. At the bottom, they found themselves surrounded by gypsies. The gypsy leader smiled. You're very clever to have found our hideaway. Unfortunately, you won't live to tell the tale. Quasimodo and Phoebus were taken to the Court of Miracles to be hanged. Hmm. Just as the lever was about to be pulled, Esmeralda arrived. Stop! They're our friends! Phoebus warned the gypsies of Frollo's attack, giving all the credit to Quasimodo. Without his help, I would have never found my way here. And a voice rang out, Nor would I! It was Frollo and his soldiers. He hadn't really known where the hideout was. Instead, he had tricked Quasimodo into leading him there. Oh no. Mm. By the next day, Phoebus and the gypsies were in prison. Quasimodo was chained inside the bell tower, and Esmeralda was in the square, sentenced by Judge Frollo to burn at the stake. The gargoyles pleaded with Quasimodo to do something, but he just shook his head. What difference would it make? Then Frollo lit the fire, and something in Quasimodo snapped. No! Using all his strength, he broke the chains. Swinging down, Quasimodo scooped up the unconscious Esmeralda, taking her back to the tower. In the confusion, Phoebus was able to free himself and the gypsies. Frollo called to his men, Seize the cathedral! Quasimodo, Phoebus, and the gypsies held off the soldiers. But when Quasimodo turned to tell Esmeralda the good news, he found her lying deathly still. Esmeralda? Oh no! Quasimodo looked up and saw Judge Frollo standing there. All my life you have told me that the world is a dark, cruel place. But now I see the only dark and cruel about it is people like you. Suddenly Esmeralda's eyes fluttered open. Quasimodo? She was alive. Quasimodo lifted her and carried her out to the roof. Frollo drew his sword and followed them. Once outside, Esmeralda scrambled to safety, but Quasimodo was trapped. Frollo moved in for the kill, balancing on a stone gargoyle. I should have known you'd risk your life to save that gypsy witch, just as your own mother died trying to save you. What? And now I'm going to do what I should have done 20 years ago. He raised his sword. The gargoyle broke. Oh, wait. As he raised his sword, the gargoyle broke, and Frollo tumbled from the tower. Quasimodo fell with him. But at the last possible instant, Phoebus reached out and pulled him to safety. A new day was dawning in Paris as Phoebus and Esmeralda walked proudly into the square, greeted by a happy crowd. The gypsy leader turned to the people. 3 cheers for Quasimodo! As they cheered, Quasimodo smiled and stepped out into the sunshine. The long night of his captivity was over. No longer would he have to dwell among the shadows of the cathedral or in the darkness of his own fears. And that is the end of Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, or Notre Dame. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me come back to chat. Tina, yeah, he is a bad villain. I Heart Disney, welcome in. Hello, Robin. Hope you're doing great tonight. All right, guys. We will now continue to the second of our stories tonight with another story featuring our friends from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. This is Quasimodo to the rescue. Quasimodo to the rescue. Long ago, in the city of Paris, a bell ringer lived in the tower of Notre Dame Cathedral. His name was Quasimodo. He lived there for many years with only 3 stone gargoyles for friends. Their names were Victor, Laverne, and Hugo, and they could only come to life for Quasimodo. Eventually, Quasimodo made new friends in the streets of Paris, but he still lived in the bell tower, and the gargoyles remained his closest friends. Quasimodo was always happy to greet them each morning when he rang the cathedral bells to wake the people of Paris. Bong, 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 rang the bells. When the bells stopped ringing, the gargoyles complained to their friend. What a racket! Cried Hugo, the fattest gargoyle. Why can't people just get a rooster? Yes, agreed Victor, the tallest gargoyle. That noise gives me a headache. Suddenly, Quasimodo heard the voice of another friend. It was Esmeralda. She was waving from the street below. I have a surprise for you, Quasimodo, she called. Lower your bucket. Quasimodo lowered a bucket. Esmeralda sent it back up with a big, juicy watermelon inside. Ooh, I could go for some watermelon right about now. Just saying. Esmeralda, Esmeralda is so kind, Quasimodo said. He swallowed a big bite of watermelon. But the gargoyles were still in a bad mood. At least she thinks about her friends, said Laverne as she shooed away some pigeons. Can you do anything about these pigeons, Quasi? That night, as Quasimodo slept, a storm arrived. The sky lit up with lightning. Victor, Laverne, and Hugo began to shiver. It looks like rain, said Victor. Oh, I hate getting my wings wet, cried Hugo. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning hit the bell tower. The railing broke apart. The gargoyles fell into the darkness below. Oh no. By morning, the storm was over. The sun shone brightly and cheerfully once more. The people of Paris awoke to find their city washed clean by the rain. A farmer had left his cart outside the cathedral. Now that the storm was over, he started on his way home. Hmm, the wagon feels heavy, he said to his horse. If I didn't know better, I'd say we still had a load of watermelons in the back. The farmer did not know that the gargoyles had fallen into his cart. Oh, oh. Meanwhile, Quasimodo was getting ready to ring the bells. Some storm last night, he called to the gargoyles. There was no answer. Oh no, he cried. My friends are gone. Hmm. Quasimodo quickly guessed what had happened. He ran down the tower steps as fast as he could. What's your hurry? Esmeralda asked as Quasimodo rushed past. Quasimodo pointed to the bell tower. He told Esmeralda about the three missing statues. Esmeralda looked at her goat Jolly. He was nibbling some straw in the street. That gave her an idea. There was a cart right at this spot yesterday, she told Quasimodo. Maybe the statues fell into it. If you follow the trail of straw, I think you'll find them. Hmm. By then, the farmer had arrived home. He was just starting to load his cart with fresh watermelons when he saw the gargoyles. Monsters! He cried, and he dropped a watermelon right on his foot. Ow. Oh no, said his wife. Don't worry, they are only made of stone. Later that day, Quasimodo reached the end of the trail of straw. Have you seen 3 statues? He asked the farmer. I sold one of them to the blacksmith next door, the farmer started to say. Before the farmer could finish, Quasimodo quickly thanked him and hurried to the blacksmith's shop. The blacksmith was just about to pound a horseshoe on Victor's head when Quasimodo arrived. Stop! Shouted Quasimodo, but it was too late. Down came the hammer. Quasimodo quickly paid. Wait, what happened? Quasimodo quickly paid the blacksmith for Victor and carried him back to the farmer's field. Now I have a headache. I'll never complain about those bells again, Victor moaned as he rubbed his head. Okay, so he didn't break. uh, okay. Quasimodo was glad to have Victor back. Do you know what happened to the other 2 statues? He asked the farmer. The farmer nodded. A ship's captain wanted one of them. His boat is on the river. In a flash, Quasimodo was racing off to the river. I should have asked about the third one while he was there. Just saying. He got there just in time to see Hugo about to be tossed overboard. The captain was using him as an anchor. Stop! Shouted Quasimodo. Hmm. But it was too late. Splash went Hugo. Without stopping to think, Quasimodo dived into the river to save his friend. He knew that Hugo hated water. Mm. Quasimodo swam to the bottom of the river. Poor Hugo was stuck in the mud next to an old ship's anchor. Quasimodo tugged and pulled until he finally freed Hugo. How dare you steal my anchor? The ship's captain shouted at Quasimodo. This is really my statue, he replied, but I will get you an even better anchor for your ship. Quasimodo left Hugo on the deck and dived into the river once more. He quickly pulled the old anchor out of the mud. That ugly old statue was a terrible anchor anyway, the captain grunted. Mm. Okay, now are we going to ask about the third statue? Who is he calling ugly? Hugo asked as Quasimodo carried him back to the farm. Quasimodo left Hugo beside Victor and asked the farmer about the third statue. The farmer pointed to his watermelon patch. Just see for yourself, the farmer said. I thought that ugly statue would make a good scarecrow, but the birds can't seem to leave it alone. Take it if you want to. All the crows had indeed flocked to Laverne. Mm. Looks like you've made some new friends, Quasimodo said to Laverne. He chuckled at the flock of crows flying around her head. Just get me out of here, hissed Laverne. Please. The kind farmer let Quasimodo use his cart to bring the statues back to the cathedral. Victor, Laverne, and Hugo sat as quiet as stones in the back. The sun was setting when Quasimodo and the gargoyles returned to Paris. Quasimodo lifted the gargoyles back up to their places on the bell tower. Thank you for rescuing us, Quasi, Victor said. Yes, but I do think we should get out to the country more often, said Hugo. You've got rocks in your head, said Laverne. At least the city birds have some manners. Their country cousins have no respect for age or beauty, not like our friend Quasimodo. And that is the end of Quasimodo to the rescue. That is our second and final story on Storyland tonight. I hope you enjoyed those stories. I enjoyed reading them as always. I do thank you for coming by. Um, Next week, Thursday, 8 p.m., I'm doing it again. I'm reading more stories. I hope you'll come by and join me for some more fun stories. What are they going to be? Well, you'll have to come and find out. So that'll be next Thursday. Also, don't forget Tuesday, Let's Talk Turkey is at 8 o'clock. We're chatting about something this week, I'm sure. So you'll have to come and find out what that is as well. And stay tuned. Keep your notifications on. Um, you never know when I'll be doing a mobile stream from somewhere in the area. I don't have anything specific planned right now, but you never know. I just might cook something up um, at any time. So, with that, guys, thanks for watching. Have a gobbletastic night. If you have been watching this on the replay, leave me a comment below and let me know that you are watching. And Yep, that'll do it for tonight. Thank you all, guys. Take care, and I'll see you next time here on the Turkey Legster's Storyland. Bye bye.